And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Up first on this edition, we've got winter storm warning out for Tuesday into Wednesday here for the central interior, the Kobuk Valley, on down to the lower Koyukuk Valley here for heavy snow and gusty winds, reducing visibilities down to half a mile at times, with winds gusting to 35 miles an hour. And winter weather advisories for several inches of snow, some of that blowing and drifting here to the northeast there, Anatuvik Pass into the northern Koyukuk Valley. Also down along the eastern Norton Sound there into the Yukon Delta, several inches of snow there with a winter weather advisory out for that area. High wind warning out for tonight and Tuesday for St. Lawrence Island and the Bering Strait coast. High wind warning continues out there for northeast winds gusting 60 to 70 miles per hour. And then down here for the southeast coast for tonight, we've got a snow advisory out for the Haines Highway for several inches of wet snow tonight into tomorrow. High wind watch, though, out for Sitka area on the central and south coast of the Panhandle, Prince of Wales Island. Actually, all of the southern Panhandle under a high wind watch for a big storm coming in on Wednesday, and that'll kick winds up, gusting possibly over 60 miles per hour. On the satellite, we've got another system coming up, but this one's going to move northward, mostly into Canada, but the warm front already spreading rain in over the southern Panhandle today, and clouds here, a lot of clouds over the interior again coming northwestward out of the Pacific, and an area of snow here from the eastern Arctic coast all the way down, areas of light snow, hit and miss in areas here into the northern Bering Sea, and trying to move in toward the Pribilof Islands. Otherwise, we've got this weakening, elongating front draped across the entire Aleutian chain here, bringing some light rain into the eastern Aleutians. And you can see that thing's rotating northward as it spreads eastward here. So we had kind of a break here for the Alaska Peninsula up in toward the Pribilof Islands. And on the chart today, there's that front out there over the Aleutians, spreading rain into at least Nikolsky, trying to get into Alaska. Otherwise, up here, tighter gradient, still some pretty strong northeast winds going on St. Lawrence Island, with carrying some snow there that's mostly spreading southwestward there over the Bering Sea, and not quite down to the Pribilof Islands, at least by mid-afternoon. Areas of snow here over the northern interior, gusty northeast winds again continuing through the Brooks Range, and rather breezy up here along the northwest coast, but light winds for the Arctic coast, and mostly dry right through this area. And then that front up along the North Gulf Coast kept it wet here, actually from the Panhandle all the way into the southern Kenai Peninsula to Kodiak Island. And for tonight, you can see right on the edge here, this system will be moving northward there and start to probably increase the wind somewhat over the southern Panhandle, keeping it wet there with light rain actually as this front weakens into a trough held up along the North Gulf Coast there, that light southeasterly flow, keeping it right into the area there so it stays wet for the North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound, southern Kenai Peninsula, northern Cook Inlet, Manuska, Sit Valley, dry conditions with a lot of clouds, and dry on up into the eastern interior, and snow and blowing snow here along this frontal boundary, especially over the Kobuk Valley in toward the Brooks Range area to the eastern Arctic coast. Snow and blowing snow for St. Lawrence Island, with snow now getting down toward the Pribilof Islands. This week low keeps it wet over the eastern Aleutians with rain, light rain for the Alaska Peninsula, showers for Kodiak Island, and wet all along the Aleutian chain tonight into tomorrow. This front brings more rain into Kodiak Island, starts to increase the rainfall again, southern Cook Inlet and the Kenai Peninsula. Remnants of this trough keep it pretty showery and unsettled there for the eastern North Gulf Coast down in toward the Panhandle, and snow, some of that heavy with blowing snow again in the warning areas with winter weather advisories all the way down to the Yukon Delta coast, Norton Sound area all the way up to the eastern Arctic coast, with these strong northeast winds continuing through the Bering Strait there, and snow down to the Pribilof Islands, rain for the Aleutians, and for the following day, cold air finally comes all the way down to the Aleutians there, changing rain to snow showers for Adak and Atka, scattering out towards Shimei and Attu, mixed precipitation for the eastern Aleutians. And with that low right along the Alaska Peninsula here, showers pretty likely, or just general light rain conditions, but wind's not all that bad. And snow shifting westward here So snow back into St. Lawrence Island, northeastward there, not as heavy now for the afternoon hours, especially through the Seward Peninsula, Kobuk Valley up to the eastern Arctic coast. And another big storm here that actually is off the chart, but comes up pretty rapidly. That's going to bring a big increase in the winds and rain, at least maximum gales along the coast. Could be probably storm warnings here in the offshore areas. Again, possible winds gusts 60 miles an hour for the central coast and the southern panhandle as that front moves in with rain heavy at times spreading northward, and stays pretty good chance of some light rain for the North Gulf Coast to the Barren Islands and maybe Homer Seldovia, but just isolated showers now for Kodiak Island. Lows tonight, the below zero area from roughly the Brooks Range out to the Arctic coast. Otherwise, either side of 0 to 5 or 10 above in the central interior. Still mild south of the Alaska Range. Temperatures upper 20s to mid 30s, upper 30s from Homer down to Kodiak or so. 30s, lower 40s for the Panhandle, 30s out over the Bering Sea and the Aleutians. And for the highs tomorrow, mid-teens, St. Lawrence Island, and about freezing for the Pribilofs, otherwise in the 30s here for the Aleutians. Near 40 for Kodiak and 30 to 40 south central Alaska, and around 10 degrees, give or take there for the central interior, closer to 15 out toward Norton Sound. Below zero for the northern Seward Peninsula, Brooks Range, on out to the Arctic coast for the highs. And then the lows, either side of zero here in the central interior, single numbers, a little bit colder air coming down. So 10 degrees, say, down to Makoriak and Tuksuk Bay, upper 20s for the Pribilofs, lower 30s for the central Aleutians, and upper 30s continue for Kodiak Island, lows mid-20s to mid-30s, south central Alaska, and down below 10 degrees in areas of the Copper River Basin. And for the highs, 40s for the southeast coast, below zero for the North Slope and the Arctic coast, and somewhere in between everywhere else.